Well, if you lose to Michigan, pretty much the other 11 don't count. We got Zach Smith here from Menace to Sports. Get on over to Menace to Sports and Zach's show each and every weekday. What time is that? Noon Eastern, right?
Noon Eastern every day.
Absolutely. Get on over there, Menace to Sports, right here on YouTube. It's great stuff with Zach, and we appreciate you being here, Zach. Well, you know what the fallout is. You know it as well as anyone. If you lose to Michigan, it doesn't matter about the other 11, and that's what we saw on Saturday. So, man, there's so much to unpack here, but let's go with the defense first because Jim Knowles was brought on to fix issues. And by the defensive metrics and by the eye test and everything put together going into this game, sure, it wasn't always pretty against Penn State or Maryland, but it was an improved defense. So how do you analyze his approach and you know, the position that he took against Michigan, selling out against the run, putting those defenders on islands out there in space?
You know, I mean, I think he did what he had to do, right? You watch Michigan's season, their offensive season, and no one could stop that run game, right? You're not just going to stop it without committing extra guys to the box. And there was really no other way to do it. And, you know, you take away, I mean, it's a bad thing to say because they're part of the game, but you take away 5 plays and he shut that whole offense down. I mean, in 5 plays, they had 350 yards and 35 points, albeit that's a bad 5 plays. You can't have those 5 plays or you're not going to win the game. I think what we really saw was an offense. Ryan Day's offense kind of let Jim Knowles down. They couldn't sustain drives. They kept that defense on the field far too long. And, you know, it was a missed tackle in zero coverage on the first touchdown that the scheme worked perfectly, right? They pressured J.J. McCarthy. He made a great throw, completed it short of the sticks, tackle the kid and get him on the ground, and it's punt team. But Cameron Brown misses a tackle, and it's a massive 69-yard touchdown. You know, and then he has two other big plays in the throw games where they got isolated on safeties. Lathan Ransom tried to jump a corner route, and it happened to be a double move. And then they put Cam Martinez in, and it was really a personnel thing. Kid played 4 snaps. He played like 4 snaps against Maryland and got cooked twice for touchdowns. He played 4 snaps against Michigan and gave up the 1 long touchdown on the post. So, I mean, I watched that film. And if you ask me which defense would you prefer, the one last year that just methodically got dominated at the line of scrimmage for 7, 8, 9 yards every single play, or the one that I watched this past Saturday, I'm taking the one in this past Saturday. I mean, they did a good job. They just didn't finish it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, if you chart every play of the game, Ohio State certainly in the first half wins 90% of the plays, but and when you get gashed, and you set up a defense that's either feast or famine, but you get gashed and you make the tackle after an 18-yard gain, well, it's not the end of the world. You keep playing and you got to keep. But when it goes for 75 and 85, that's just obviously that turns it all around. So I kind of thought, even though they won the first half and they got gashed twice, the Marvin Harrison play to the corner kind of brought it back to, okay, you don't feel good losing 17-13 when you've dominated the game, but you give up the 2 big plays, but you grab the lead back, you go to the locker room, and, you know, where did you stand at that point? Because the pessimists stand on the side of, well, we blew a bunch of chances. You can't do that. That's going to come back to haunt us. But the optimists say, well, we got control of this game. We're going to break through in the second half.
Well, you really felt that way. You felt that way the whole first half, even early in the second half, that Ohio State was controlling the game. I mean, because they were. The offense was sputtering a little bit, and the defense obviously had those big plays that they gave up, but you felt like Ohio State was playing better every down. And so I went into halftime saying, all right, if they can clean some stuff up on offense. CJ Stroud was off. He missed a bunch of reads, a bunch of throws, a bunch of situations, honestly, where all year, you know, he throws a 50-50 ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. He threw 1 in this game, and it was a touchdown. And I mean, it was confusing kind of where CJ was at and how he was playing. But I think at halftime, as an Ohio State fan, you had to feel decent because they were controlling the game. They kind of were controlling both sides of the ball. Michigan had hit their big plays, and you felt like Ryan Day could level up. But what was lost in the whole thing was what Jesse Minter has done all year. I mean, he has went in at halftime, and that defense at Michigan has shut down the opposing offense. I think the average is 2.8 points in the second half over the last 7 games. It's been outstanding. And he did it again on Saturday. He shut down Ryan Day's offense in the second half.
So when you approach a defense that good, or really any defense, because they're obviously going to take something away and they're going to leave themselves exposed otherwise, how much do you stay with your identity and what you do versus what the defense is giving you? Because you mentioned the Harrison play, and then also we had Ibuka got loose down the seam to make it 31-23 because they couldn't cash it in for a touchdown. But when they took shots, and I think Stroud missed Marvin down the other left sideline early in the game. But besides that, they didn't take shots. And I get it because Michigan's providing safety help. But what do you balance out doing what you do versus what the defense is showing you?
Yeah, I mean, there comes a point where you need to just take what the defense gives you per se. And I think they tried to do that. I think CJ honestly made a bunch of poor decisions, especially in the RPO game. Some of the wideouts haven't blocked well at Ohio State all year. But some of the RPO stuff they were doing, the bubble screens, which Emeka, actually the one bubble screen, Emeka took it for like 18 yards, but it was horribly blocked, and the defenders kind of ran into each other. It was kind of fortunate. But I didn't see CJ taking what the defense gave even. I mean, there was one play in particular where there's some concept going on to the right, and it was clear there was confusion. Cade Stover's like looking to block while CJ's dropping back to pass. And, in the disarray, great players can make plays. Marvin Harrison Jr. runs a backside dig wide open over the middle of the field. CJ looks right at him, but for whatever reason decides not to pull the trigger. It was a lot of that over and over where you're watching it going, what is going on right now? Throw it. Throw it to that kid. And Michigan certainly wasn't going to let Ohio State beat them deep, but they also weren't afraid to come up and play press man.
Good. Zach Smith here breaking down the Buckeyes in Michigan and what happened at the shoe. You can catch Zach every day, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube. Menace to Sports. Get on over there. Menace to Sports right here on YouTube.